what you're going to see is just about beyond belief. We have video clips of heavy objects levitating. Canadian John Hutchinson is a self-taught scientist who reports to have accidentally stumbled upon a collection of phenomena now known as the Hutchinson Effect. During attempts to study the longitudinal waves of Tesla back in 1979, some of the effects produced include levitation of heavy objects, metal samples turned transparent, metals turned into jelly, and the spontaneous fracturing of metals. The Hutchinson Effect has been well documented both on film and videotape, has been witnessed many times by numerous credentialed scientists and engineers. Hutchinson has presented over 750 demonstrations of levitations, all generated by the Hutchinson Effect. He also has video documentation showing metallurgical samples falling apart, as well as the transmutation of wood impregnated into metals. His findings have been televised in the U.S., Japan, and Canada, and have piqued interest from electrical engineering and aircraft companies, the Canadian Department of Defense, and the military, as you might well imagine. Coming up in a moment, John Hutchison. Now, I immediately recommend that you go to my website and in the following order watch what I'm going to instruct you to watch, all right? Go to artbell.com and go to program, and then tonight's guest info, and under the name John Hutchinson, you will want to click on video of photos of experiments. And there is video clip number 1 and video clip number 2. But if you will go to the bottom of the page, you can see the first page, past all the still photographs. You will see video of John's laboratory. Now, John has a laboratory that rivals anything it looks like to me at NASA. It is extremely impressive. And until tonight, I was not aware of the Hutchinson Effect nor of John Hutchinson. But the videos that we have, the proof that we are offering you, is it's mind-boggling. I mean, you will see things levitate in the air. You will see heavy objects levitate in the air. I don't know what to tell you. We've got it on video. John, welcome to the program.
Well, it's a real nice honor to be on your program, Art.
Where are you in Canada?
Well, I'm in New Westminster, British Columbia, Canada, on the West Coast.
All right. And how old are you now, John?
Well, I forgot, but I'm into life extension, so, I think I'm about 55.
About 55.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you begin your experiments with Tesla technology? I mean, how did you get involved in that in the first place?
Well, I was always fascinated by Tesla technology, especially in the 60s and that.
Yes.
And the information at that time period is very vague.
Actually, it still is.
Yeah.
A lot of what Tesla did, we don't know. They scooped it, all his work up.
I know. But in the 70s, I got this great inspiration with a machine shop to reproduce to 18th century standards a lot of the equipments, the high-frequency converters and generators and all that neat stuff.
Yeah, I can see it.
I just went on and on and on, and it seemed that nothing was impossible to achieve.
Well, what were you trying to achieve? In other words, what was your goal when you began?
More or less, Art, more or less basically just having fun. That's basically it. I was just having fun.
Yeah, but having fun based on...
I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was basically had a great interest in replication of high-frequency, high-voltage effects, radio frequency energies, and electrostatic energies.
Voltages, how high? You mean Van de Graaff generator type voltage or what?
Yeah, Van de Graaff generators up to, well, I made one myself. It went up to about 2 million electron volts.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
That's a lot.
A lot of stuff there. And then the Tesla coil itself only was up to 1 million volts.
A Tesla coil at 1 million volts.
Yeah, that's
all right.
Baby one.
When did you begin to observe, as you experimented, anything anomalous that you just, you didn't understand why?
I would think about 1979 was a time period when things started to happen.
Like what?
I would get pieces of bakelite material coming across a room and hitting me on the shoulder, or hitting and crashing into things.
When you did what to them?
When I was activating the electrostatics and also the Tesla coil machinery and the pulsating high voltage DC voltage through a spark gap.
Okay.
And I was using also RF generation equipment at 455 kilohertz.
At I'm sorry, say again?
Sorry, 455?
455 kilohertz?
Yeah.
That's the IF frequency of most broadcast radios.
That's right. And playing with these fields, I always was playing with something like that, even prior to the Tesla interest in that.
Now, just curious, before we move on, are you aware that the alleged Philadelphia experiment, which used large electromagnetic fields and rotating RF fields, actually has a lot of parallels to what you're talking to me about right now?
That's what I discovered in 1982 when Dr. Guy Obelinsky suggested I fine-tune the frequencies, and I'd start to get the same kind of effects as the Philadelphia experiment. Oddly enough, some of these things actually did happen. We had a whole building disappear in 1987 when I was with
What?
I'm not kidding.
A whole building.
I did not see it myself. It was my workers there who worked with Boeing, George Lissakase and Alexander Sherevshesky from Russia there. An insurance agent was to come down to insure the laboratory.
Right.
And basically, he came down and found no building, just an empty lot. So we questioned him about, the surrounding area. What did you see when you came here? The address and everything went over and over and over again. And basically, he got very upset and angry, saying, "You guys are trying to play a practical joke on me. I don't get it." And he just backed off and never came around again. Now, I didn't see this happen, but my friends, of course, told me the story. And other times, of course, on analysis of the 8mm film, the old style film by the Canadian government, they found that some of these metal samples would turn semi-transparent. And you could actually see through them and see the objects underneath them.
All right. Exactly, if you don't mind telling me, if you're willing to tell me, exactly what were you applying when those effects began to occur? You were applying electrostatic voltage.
Mm-hmm.
You had a Tesla coil operating, yes?
I had about 3 Tesla coils operating.
3 Tesla coils?
3 Tesla coils, one at 7.5 in the kilohertz range, and one at 14 megahertz.
14 megahertz. Uh-huh.
And, of course, the RF generators at 455, and the electrostatic unit generator. This is in the very early days of these kind of experiments. And I also had weak magnetic fields.
Okay, wait a minute. Electrostatic at about 2 million volts, right?
No, well, no. The electrostatic unit I had several of them, actually. The very first one I started out with was about 500,000 volts.
500,000, okay.
Mm-hmm. And then as time went on, I always would upgrade the laboratory.
Of course, but if I've got it right, 3 Tesla coils, 7.5 kilohertz, 14 megahertz. Now, those would be that's a harmonic, right?
Getting in close to a harmonic.
7.5, well, close. Yeah, close. I'm sorry, not an exact harmonic. I'm wrong. And what other frequency?
5 megs.
5 megahertz?
Yeah, 5 megahertz. Now, these are very fine, so fine that there's literally no sparks from them.
Okay.
They're so finely tuned with, with spark gap and also high capacitance. And the other one was vacuum tube operated. So you get the high frequency in that.
Right, up at 14 megahertz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then 500,000 volts of electrostatic and 455 kilohertz RF.
Yeah, a lot of it I had to dump into a dummy load, or I get into a lot of problems with what they call the Department of Transport up here.
Really?
Yeah,